Hey everyone, good morning and welcome to Morning Tea with me, Tracy V. Allen, host of Morning Tea. Morning Tea is a show that aims to motivate, inspire, and educate you to level up your life, your career, or your business. This morning, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because someone needs to hear what we're going to be talking about today. So sharing is caring. So like, share, and subscribe, and leave comments below because Ed, our guest today, and myself will be happy to interact and answer any questions that you have. So today I have with me Ed Troxell. Ed is the creative entrepreneur, and he has now transitioned into being a live producer. So he helps people produce their live, just like we're doing right now, help them produce their live shows so that, you can get in front of your target audience. So Ed, thank you for being here this morning with us on Morning Tea. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Yes, thank you for having me. And hello, everyone. Good morning. And I am so excited to be here. As we mentioned, my name is Ed Troxell, and I am a Facebook Live producer. I help small business owners, primarily service-based businesses, get online through live broadcasting to establish and grow their brand, because live video, like what we're doing here, is so important for both you personally as well as your business. And it's a huge game changer. So embrace it.
I know. I like how you say that, embrace it, because that is a hard thing for a lot of people to do, embrace it. But we'll get into that a little later. So tell us about your entrepreneurship journey. So who was Ed before Ed became the creative entrepreneur and now the Facebook live stream producer?
Yes. Well, I always joke that, I basically was an entrepreneur at least that I can, as far back as I can remember, as 5 years old, when I could pick up a hammer and go to work with my dad. He was a handyman.
Okay.
So he wasn't able to really teach me how to be an entrepreneur, but I kind of figured things out for myself, and I just knew that I wanted to be my own boss. So I always joke that I started back when I was 5. My first official job was probably, I should say, my first official business was selling soda cans to the kids in the neighborhood, because I always had soda in the house. I don't drink soda anymore, but when I was a kid, I did. And I would be the one who would be selling it for 25 cents, 50 cents a pop, because nobody else had it. And I was like, well, why not?
Okay.
So
you always had that entrepreneurship spirit in you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's just one of those things. Entrepreneurship's close to my heart. I mean, I've made a brand out of it. I have all of us who are tuning in here that own our own business, or maybe some who are going to have their own business soon. I refer to us as what I call why notters. A why notter is, like the good Steve Jobs said, the crazy ones that we go out there and we test and we try something and we see what can happen. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and we have to pivot, and that's okay. But the point is that we start it and we see what happens.
Okay. So I like that, the why notters, because really and truly, we are a little bit of the crazy ones, because a lot of people, when I ask, they will tell me like they want to do something. I'm like, well, why not try it? Right. And they're like, no, I can't take that chance. I have to pay my mortgage. I have to do this. I have to do that. So I like that. The why notters. Why not?
Yes.
Why not do it? Why not try it? If I fail, I dust myself off and I move on to the next thing. But I think you have to have an adaptability spirit to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You have to be a risk taker to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And also you have to understand too that entrepreneurship, I feel like there's this all or nothing that goes on, especially when I first started. Everyone seems to say that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you can't work a 9 to 5. Listen, you can do whatever you want. And if you can work a 9 to 5, get paid with those benefits, and do your side business and be that entrepreneur. Like people do it all the time. Don't feel like you have to give up one thing for another. You may have to at some point, but when you're starting out, just like you said, try, see what happens. Yeah,
I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people say that to be an entrepreneur, you have to be all in or all out.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have, if you're a 9-to-5er, then you have a side hustle. You're not a true entrepreneur, you're just a side hustler. But I had a side hustle while I was a 9-to-5er, but I was an entrepreneur because my side hustle equaled my full-time job. And sometimes it surpassed my full-time job. So if that's not an entrepreneur, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. When you have
afraid to leave the 9-to-5 because of, like you said before, the benefits was what was keeping me on the 9-to-5. But then as an entrepreneur, we said you have to learn to adapt, and you have to realize that there's a bigger picture in how you can still have all those benefits, even if you're working for yourself.
Yes, 100%. And that's the thing that everyone should be paying attention to as well, is that, again, don't think that it's one or the other. If you can do both, do both. And entrepreneurship is really when you start having your own business. It doesn't say that you can only have your own business. That most entrepreneurs have multiple things in the fire, whether it's with underneath their umbrella or it's a combination of things. Like, the more the merrier these days, of course, you know, with the streams of income. And
exactly.
If you got a full-time job or a part-time job with some benefits and you can keep it on the side, go for it while you build up your empire.
Right, right. And that's kind of like a pathway to wealth, no? Because you have your full-time job and that can pay all your bills, and your part-time job or your entrepreneurship journey can pay off the bills and then become your savings for retirement, so that you're not, for lack of a better term, at Walmart greeting us at 65, 75 years old because you weren't able to set up for life. Not that I'm knocking them, but I'm just saying that's not what anybody wants for their life after they retire.
Yes. And I will say, if any of you ever see me in that position, one, be sure to say hello, but two, understand I'm still going to be trying to get you to do your own business because it's just in my blood. So just know that is going to happen. Okay.
Yeah. So did you have a 9-to-5 before you became an entrepreneur, or you went full-time into entrepreneurship?
Oh, for sure. I have always enjoyed working. I know that can be weird to say, but I love working when it's not busy work, when it's creative work.
Okay.
And I worked multiple part-time jobs throughout my life because I was always wanting to not only support my lifestyle, but I like learning and keeping up with everything, especially technology. And so, I mean, even when I started my first business, I actually was working up to 4 part-time jobs while being in school and running a magazine. So it was a lot, but it was great, and it taught me so much, and it gave me that next step, right? And so before I got into entrepreneurship full time, which is what I've been doing for the last 5 years, I actually worked at Apple. So that was my 9-to-5. And for the longest time, I did not go full time with them, because for me, that word full time at another company always freaked me out. I was like, I really don't want to be full time. Yes. Yeah. and I feel like if I'm full time, then if something happens, because it's always going to happen, if something happens, I'm going to be stuck. Yep. And I'm not going to have the skills I need to be out in the world, you know, and maybe that came from watching my mom at work at her 9-to-5. You know, she was born and raised in Italy, and when the family migrated here, they, you know, worked really, really hard, and so her thing was always a 9-to-5, paycheck to paycheck, trying to support the family, and I just, while she was on a computer all the time, it was always in one program. So the internet, as it evolved, of course, the internet and all of our easy to use devices was not like, it wasn't common sense. It wasn't easy because it's a whole new ball game. And I knew from watching all of that as I grew up that I never wanted to be in that position where I was vulnerable like that, where time just flew by and I just gave my life to a company that really hasn't supported me in everything, and maybe has let me go or something, you know, like we're seeing right now. And so that was a big thing, is trying to not be at a full-time job. I finally did go full-time for maybe it was a year before I quit. and went all in on entrepreneurship.
Was going full time like the catalyst to making you go full time in your entrepreneurship journey?
Yeah, it was. You know, there's a point, and I'm sure everyone who works a 9-to-5 or has worked a 9-to-5, you will relate to this, is that there's a point where, especially if you have the entrepreneurship built into you, there's a point where you step back and you look at what you've done and where you can go within that company and what you can do. And I reached that point. I leveled out and I realized that I wasn't satisfying my creative juices. I felt boxed in, you know, and so it took me a while to pull that, type up that letter, the quit day letter, because I was like, you know, I'll just kind of wait it out. I was going to actually wait till the following year, and the universe kept punching me. There was like, dude, you got to go. You got to go. And then finally one day it was just like, go. That 26 cents that you got as a raise is nothing. Get out of here. And so after that, I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this. And, you know, worst case scenario, I can find a job anywhere and go back to a 9-to-5. I hope I never have to do that, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. So since we met in a mastermind because we both started the same program at the same time. It was with Nicole Walters. It was 1K one day. That's how we met. And then we ended up in the mastermind after that together. So I was in the first cohort just like you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so awesome. And it's crazy how long it's been.
I know, right? How long has it been? 6 years? 7 years?
It's at least, I want to say 4. I know for sure.
4.
Yeah.
I think it's a little longer than that, though.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Probably is.
It's been a while.
What is time these days?
I know. So I have seen your business evolve from the time I met you to what it is now. It's always in the same general genre, but I've seen you like, I want to talk deeply about that. See you test different things in the market and it works for a while and then maybe you got bored of it, or, you know, the interest level from the consumer died down and then you just bounced back and started something else, always in the same genre of marketing or doing something in the production field. But let's talk about how that has evolved throughout the last couple of years.
For sure. So as a creative entrepreneur, I'm sure many of you can relate to this if you really have those creative juices, is that starting something is fairly easy. It is just like, boom, that's a great idea. Yes, let's do that. And you put it together. And if you're not careful with what comes next, then you're always going to be doing that. And you're always going to be, you know, changing things up. And what feels like a day or a week or a month or a year to us really is only half that, right? Like sometimes we move so quickly that it's like, oh, I only did that yesterday or last week. And then we change things. Guilty. And over the years, yes, my business has evolved, which is great. I mean, everyone's business, you always want to be evolving. And I always say, you know, change equals growth. So we always want to be growing. But when I first started my business, I started with building websites just because I had the knowledge and the skill set and the resources available. And that was the first problem that I wanted to solve for business owners because I saw too many being taken advantage of. You know, online is the wild, wild west. And there's so many different things that can happen. And because people know me as the guy that makes tech stupid easy, I can break things down and explain and really just get you what you need to get the job done today so you can keep moving forward tomorrow. And so I started with that. And while that's still part of an option in the business, because, you know, if somebody needs it, they need it. It's not my main focus anymore because I've gone through and looked at all the things that I've done and been able to produce over the years and realized that they all have something in common. And it's that producer. And it's that being able to take an idea and really bring it to life online, but even more so through live video. And so that's why the recent title change, if you will, to Facebook Live Producer or just streaming live producer really came about was because I stopped and I reflected on all the things that I've done. And the consistent part throughout the whole journey not only has been around marketing and helping people get online, but it's always been around live broadcasting, because that's what I knew was going to make me stand out online. Like before I actually went full-time in my business, I had to have a conversation with myself about getting into this live broadcasting thing, because that was the only way my business would survive. And I did not like being in front of the camera. I was always the guy behind the camera. And I had to really, really fight through some of those self-doubts and that fear.
I remember.
Yes, yeah. It was like, I mean, some of my first videos, it's like, geez, they're still out there, trust me. And I feature one of them in my new program, just so that way people can see how it's evolved, because it's
evolution.
Yeah, it's important. And so, yeah, it's really always been, I'm the creative guy. I can break tech down and I can implement quickly. And so that's always been consistent. And it's just the exterior. I always say that our website is our home, and that's our online space. And over time, that's going to change in terms of the theme, the template, the way it looks.
Right.
But you're still going to have those core things, like the services you provide and what you do, that will never really change, especially when you have, your skill set there.
Right.
That makes sense. I kind of, it's live. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we know that coming online, being live like we are now, online is pivotal to anybody's success, because it is the way to get in front of your target audience. You don't have to pay for it, right? Yes. Wow, that is true, but not true. And so let's talk about that, because people think that I just sit here and I'm just running my mouth and it's free of charge. I have to pay for software in the background to get this done. So when people would say to you, because like I had a conversation with someone and I said, I'm having an interview with someone who's a Facebook Live producer, and they were like, why would someone want to hire someone to produce their Facebook Live when all you have to do is take up your phone and click live and you're on, And I said, well, it's that easy, but then if you want to produce a certain product, it's not that easy.
Right.
So let's talk about that.
Yes, I love that specific example, because there's so many things that we could touch on that one. So when it comes to that, first off, do you know if that person actually goes live?
Hardly.
So let's start there. You guys, we're going to break it down here. So yes, it is as simple as picking up your phone and going live. No question about that. In fact, that's what I teach people to start with. But let's break that down. Just because it's there and it's easy to do doesn't mean you're doing it. And that's a prime example, right? It's like, okay, cool. So you know how to do that, but why aren't you doing it? And we have to understand that it's not just about going live. Like that's like just the bare minimum right there. It's going live with a plan. And that's what I teach my clients. And that's what I focus on is anybody can go live. You can go live right after this show and you'll be fine, right? But if you really want to maximize your exposure online and you really want to be able to use live broadcasting in your marketing efforts here online, you got to have a plan. And part of that plan is hiring someone to help you frame everything, to show you the framework that's going to allow you to easily, you can't see it up here, but I have my show up, deliver, and engage. Those are my 3 core values. And that's what I teach people. And that's the beauty of live broadcasting, specifically Facebook Live, because you can go live and if you have a plan, it will help you with so many other things. For instance, here's a real example. I just did a 13-minute Facebook Live episode. I call them all episodes. I was able to pull out 5 mini clips that I can share on social media. 5 clips, 13 minutes. That's all it took for my live. Of course, I had went in with a plan and I had other things, but let's just break down the simple part. There is 13 minutes of my time gave me 5 social media posts that I'm set up for the whole next week. Right.
So we're talking about content, guys. This is content.
Yes.
Right. So
original content.
He has 5 additional content pieces that he can use from that 13-minute clip. So
yes. Yeah. and that's the beauty. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's the beauty, you guys, is that it's original content.
Yes.
Think about your Netflix, right? When you're watching Netflix and they have an original show, that is something they created. They're not sharing somebody else's show, right? And so this is how you start to stand out, because now you're creating original content, and it's not just for your Facebook page or wherever you're sharing it. It's for the long haul. You can repurpose this video and be able to use it elsewhere online. So it's a beautiful thing. And when you get the right guide, it makes your life so much easier.
Right. And I like that, because a lot of people think that when you go live, you just turn on your camera and you go live. But if you're truly going to be making an impact for your business, you want to position yourself in the marketplace as an expert, you actually have to plan these things. You know, like I literally highlight. So I use StreamYard to do most of my live. So I'm able to do like what I'm doing now. And I have your website up. So I would have the key points that I'm talking about. And I will, as I talk about each one, I will put it up. It takes my interaction with my audience to a whole nother level versus me just being on the phone with my phone in my face like this, going live. It's because I have videos like that. I have videos like that. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so cringeworthy.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is horrible. I think I hid about 100 videos on my YouTube page, and I'm just going to redo them. Yeah. Because I've learned so much throughout the years. I mean, the content is great, but the visuals are awful. Yeah. You know?
and that's the thing, you know, we all are going to be at different levels. So I want everyone to understand that this is something I teach everyone, is that you're always going to be at a different level. So try not to play that comparison game for too long. We're going to do it because we're human, but just like anything on social media or online or wherever, don't play that game for too long, because then you get too far into your head and then you never do anything about it. Understand that all of this is great, but this is not something that you have to jump out of the gate with, especially if you don't have someone like me teaching you, because you're going to be overwhelmed and you're going to get frustrated. And then what's going to happen is you're going to say, I'm not going to go live. It doesn't work. It's too much. And then you're missing out on a huge opportunity to market and sell your business services for free online to your audience. Like, understand that while this has been around for a while, it is still taking shape. It's still growing. And what you're seeing today, not only here on this show, but any live that you tune into, is just the beginning. And Facebook recently announced that they're going to have live shopping coming. Oh, you guys, you're going to have your own QVC channel right here on Facebook.
Nice.
Yes, I'm telling you, I'm trying to get you ahead of the curve, but you got to let me in a little bit. You got to meet me a little halfway there, just a little bit. Let me help you.
And like I'm telling you guys, like I've known Ed, like we said, 4 or 5 years, and I have seen him evolve. I've seen him come on camera and be all awkward, you know,
big time.
And now he's like dynamic. He literally, you've been an inspiration to me. I'm like, I look at some of your shows and I see some of the things that you're doing, and I'm like, how does he do that? And then you'll drop little hints here, and I'll do research. Or I've even reached out to you and like, how did you get such and such done? But he actually has a tech. What is it called? Tech.
Yes Entrepreneurship Network.
Yeah, Yes the Entrepreneurship Network. It's a nominal fee to get in, and he'll answer all your techie questions.
Yeah.
You know, he'll answer your techie questions for you because, yeah, we could Google it. Yes, we could use YouTube University, but do you know how much time that takes? And you can go all the way down a rabbit hole and still
Yep.
never get the answer. You know, so
It's so
just
true.
utilizing someone who can give you a direct answer to a question, to me, my time is precious and that works way better for me. So when I was talking about my videos that I had before, that was the place I was in at that point in time where I would just use my phone. So it was perfect for me. I had no problems with my videos when I was doing them with my phone, bad lighting, all of that back then. But like you said, that was the space I was in at that point in time.
Yeah.
Now I've evolved. So I'm in another space where now I have my ring light, I have a better camera, I have, better software, all of that stuff. So it's a progression. You're not going to just, like you said, jump out the gate and get out.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I want everyone to realize is that no matter what level you're at, you just need to start. And this is something, this is why I created my program, Business Gone Live, because I wanted to teach people how to do the whole progression in one easy to use program. And so teaching you how to do the content planning, how to get over those fears, how to be on camera, and then how to actually use the tech, both from the phone and the computer, so that way you can choose how you want to go. Like, there's this whole streamline process that I wish I had when I first started, but I had to be the one to figure it out, which I'm thankful for because, now I'm here and I can help others. But it's one of those things that there's no one out there really teaching you how to do this. It's one of those things that, yes, Facebook's free. Yes, we signed up and we have an account. And yes, we can access Facebook Live. But what do we do now? Right. And then it goes to Google search, and then you go into this rabbit hole, and then it's not even really detailed information that you can understand, So it's one of those things, just like anything in our business, you have to see what it is that you want to do and understand that you have to find the right resources, people included, to help you get there. And understand that you can't do free all the time because free is only going to get you so far.
I like that. That is a very, very good point. You cannot do free all the time. You do have to progress to the next level.
Yeah.
So what do you offer someone who comes to you and wants to utilize your Facebook Live producer expertise?
Yeah. So right now, actually, this is like public now for everyone, is I just launched the Business Gone Live program. So it's an online course and support group that will help with all of that. So that's where as I mentioned, I teach everyone, doesn't matter what level they're at, I teach everyone how to basically create their own Facebook Live show. The reason I frame it as a show is because, one, this is your show, and you can do whatever you want with it. And it just makes it so much easier to not only relate to, but to also build out. Because again, I want you to create original content. I want you to make this online marketing and just being present for your audience easier. And you can't get any easier than live broadcasting because it is just so powerful. And for those who are always, kind of on the fence about live broadcasting, maybe you're ready to get in front of the camera, but you're like, well, does it really work? Like, I went live and no one commented, nobody showed up. Listen, that's one of the first things I squash in my program is don't worry about the numbers.
Right.
That is not what we're here for. If that happens, awesome. Give yourself a pat on the back. That's great, but that is not what we're here for. So that removes already some pressure off of those shoulders and allows us to then get into the work that needs to be done in order to make this so much easier for us to go live with our plan and then be able to easily repurpose that content. So then we can just check things off of our to-do list.
Yeah. And I like that, repurposing the content, because that is one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize is that sometimes you don't need to keep creating content.
Yes.
You have created tons and tons. Like I said, when I made all of those videos private in YouTube, that was 100 and something videos.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize I had created that much content throughout the years, you know, and that's content, like you said, with your 13-minute video, you can break down into sections and have mini content that you can put out. So going live, I mean, if you are on the fence about going live, like Ed said, it's a great marketing tool. It's a great way to verify your expertise by talking to people and educating them and delivering value. Reach
Yes.
out to Ed, join the new course that he has coming up, or
Yeah.
get some consulting from him about how you can go live and create an impact for your business. You know,
Yeah. Please. Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, when you visit my site, I do have the schedule call. It's free, and we can figure out what next steps are best for you. So don't hesitate on that, because again, I really just want everyone to start embracing live broadcasting, whatever level you're at, because it is a game changer for you and your business. And you will have so many more opportunities knocking at your door. Like I always like to say, you know, yes, you're going to get sales, because that's all part of the plan, right? That's the big goal. That's what we want. And marketing helps us get there. But we have to understand that it's not just the sale today, but it's about establishing the relationship and growing that over time. Right. And this is the best way you can do that, the quickest way you can do that. And it's going to help people see you for guest speaking opportunities, as well as podcast interviews, Facebook Live interviews. Like the opportunities are out there. And the minute you start investing your time into going live, you will start to see those come out. Yes,
you are so right. And we were talking before we got on this live about the corona and how it's affecting the entrepreneurship business. Well, entrepreneurs, period. So let's talk about some of that, because we were talking about pivoting. And one of the things that a lot of people are not pivoting towards is bringing their businesses online.
Yes. Okay, so for anybody whose business is not online yet, lean in. We're getting real close and personal here, and understand you need to be online. And that was like a requirement a while ago, but it's more so now. And I'm going to push you a little bit further. You need to be active online, because the times have changed. We are not going back. You're not going to have what you had before. No. Everything has changed. And even when life starts to, flatten out a little bit and feel a little bit like whatever normal used to be, it's still going to be online. And I'm not saying if you have a brick and mortar that's going to be closed or anything. I mean, it may be, but I don't know. But if you have a brick and mortar, you need to be using online to complement it, right? As we talked about earlier, entrepreneurship and working a 9-to-5, it's not one or the other. If you can make both work, make it work. Same idea when it comes to being online. If you're offline, you need to get online. If you're online, make sure that you're working those offline connections. It all goes hand in hand, just like going live with Facebook. By you just going on Facebook Live, that does not guarantee that you're going to get a client. That doesn't guarantee you're going to make a sale. It helps, but it doesn't guarantee it. Just like investing in Facebook ads, it helps, but it doesn't guarantee. Just like SEO, search engine optimization, how people find you on Google. It helps, but it doesn't guarantee. All of these things, we have to work together. It's part of your marketing. And you can see I get passionate about this stuff, so you can jump in anytime. But
I'm okay with it.
When it comes to being online, you have to have an active presence. What does that mean? That means you have to have a website. I know I said the W word, and it's going to kill you because you're not tech savvy, and that's okay. There are resources for that. So hopefully you all have a website, not just a Facebook page. That's also part of the online presence. That's a whole other story. But websites is the first thing that you should have for your business because it's your online home base.
Yes.
If you don't have one, when you schedule that call with me, we will talk about options to help you get one. So you have your website, and then you actually have to update that. It's not just check, I got a website. Listen, I can tell you from the experience of all of the small business websites I've been to recently who have retail brick and mortar locations, almost all of them did not update their website, letting people know that they're closed. Things have changed. We're never opening. We're going to be opening soon. None of that. Do you guys realize how much business you probably lost for not updating your website? It may seem like a small thing, like you're not thinking in the dollars, you're just thinking that's a task that you really don't want to deal with. You need to shift that because people are going to your site before they contact you, before they come to your place of business. So that's the first thing that should be on your list when things like a pandemic hit, when business hours change, like update your website. Then we get into, we have the website, we got that. Check, okay, Ed, perfect. We're going to update, done, get it. We're good. Now it comes to social media. I know, it overloaded. We just had to deal with business. Now we're dealing with pivoting. Then we have the website that we're updating. And now you want me to be on social media, which is probably my Facebook, my Instagram, my YouTube, my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Periscope, my Pinterest, my IGTV. List goes on, right? Who's overwhelmed and stressed out?
Yeah.
So I want you to understand that while it's great to have all of those social platforms, it's great to be on every single one of them. It's not required for you to show up on every single one. If you don't have the time, you need to pick one and focus on that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, focus on your Facebook page. It's still Facebook's still the number one platform out of all of them. It's the place where you need to start because that is where the eyeballs are. And sure, certain businesses, you may have more Instagram things going on or whatnot, or Pinterest, but listen, it still comes back to your Facebook business page. When you Google yourself, chances are you're going to see your website and your Facebook page. Not your Facebook group, not your Instagram profile that has specifically what you do on there. Like all of these other things, these platforms are great, but your time is limited. You're stressed out, you're overwhelmed, and you don't have the capacity to be active on all of these platforms. So pick where you should show up and start there. And this is actually stuff that I teach inside the program, Business Gone Live, to help you do that. Part of the repurposing section, I actually have what's called a live effect script. And it's actually a one-page script that I give for my students that allows you to take your Facebook Live and tells you exactly how to repurpose it so it's not overwhelming and how you can show up on those other platforms. So there is a plan, but when you're starting out and when you're doing it by yourself, you need to really fine-tune things and learn to say, no, it's okay. I'm not going to do that. Because when you try to be on everything, just like in marketing, when we try to market to everyone, we're marketing to no one. Same thing applies to social media. We're trying to be on everything. People aren't hearing us.
Right.
Because they don't see us with all of the other posts coming in their feed.
Right. Awesome. Those were good tips. So
that was a lot.
No, but it was necessary tips because a lot of people are resistant to, like we talked about, resistant to the change and going live, as uncomfortable as it is, because when I first started going live, it was just hard. I'm like, who am I speaking to? I'm like a crazy person in my living room speaking to a camera lens. What's going on? You know? And especially me coming from a teaching background, I'm accustomed to feeding off the audience. So that's how and I'm very animated. You can see how I talk with my hands, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very animated, but I thought I could only be that way in front of people. I needed that energy. And it was a learning curve. So like I said, some of my earlier videos are quite cringeworthy, where I'm kind of like sitting here like a robot and just like talking like very robotic and stiff and not, because I just didn't know what to do. And then as you do it, like practice makes perfect. The more you continue doing it, the more comfortable you get, and you're more like, if I made a mistake, I made a mistake. I said the wrong thing. I just corrected and I move on. You know. But before you thought that you had to come on here and be perfect in front of this camera, but you don't. Just be yourself.
Yes, and that's the beauty of live broadcasting is that it's not expected that you have all of the production going on and all of the perfection happening. It's so much easier than pre-recorded. Let me just tell you guys, it is so much easier.
It is. It really is.
Unscripted is the way to go.
Yeah. So leave our audience with 3 things that they can take and implement or make them think a little harder about their life or their careers or being an entrepreneur or marketing.
Yeah. Well, the first one's probably going to be watch the replay. Let's just say that, because there's a lot here that you can take away, and you're not going to take it all away at the first time. So 1 would be watch the replay. 2, though, would be take a step back and look at what are you doing, right? If you're a 9-to-5er, you got to look at that and see, is this fulfilling your needs? Is this what you want to keep doing? Or is there something else calling? And if so, what could that be? So really take a step back. If you're an entrepreneur already, a small business owner, and you're like, well, okay, I'm already in the business and I got things going, then take that step back and ask yourself, are you going live? Are you using the tools and resources you have available to help you market your business?
Right.
That is key. And it's free marketing. Hello. What's better than that?
Exactly.
So there's that. And then so number 3 would be to really make sure that you are being active online. Now that's a loaded one. So you're going to have to see where you need to be more active, because maybe you have been updating your website, which is great. Then that means that you need to find the social media platform that you can consistently show up for online at minimum once a week.
Okay.
At minimum. I mean, if you can do more, great. But I know so many people are, overworked, and there's so many things going on that trying to make a commitment is really hard. So I want us to go back to the old days when we had to force ourselves to write a blog post for our website. It used to be at least once a week you write a blog post. I want you to start incorporating that in your business and being able to show up on your Facebook page and write, type, post, whatever, go live at least once a week on your business page.
Those were 3 good tips. And just to piggyback on his last tip, if you go live, you can use your live as a blog post.
There we go. Yes, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. So if you want to get in contact with Ed, you can go to www.edtroxell, and that's TROXELL creative.com. Again, that's Ed, TROXELL creative.com. I do suggest that you reach out to him, because as much as I resisted doing live on a regular basis, I made it my job. So this is part of my business right now, is going live. So just like if I worked for a corporate office, I would have set duties that I would have to do on a regular basis. I have incorporated going live as one of the key things that I need to do in my business in order to elevate. And that's how you have to kind of look at it as. If you were working for someone, you would have to do a set amount of things every day, whether you liked it or not. So whether I like going live or not, and I can be honest, most of the time I really don't want to go live. But it is how I am going to get the exposure that I need to build my business.
100%. Yes. All of that. I love it. Yes. Please book a call with me and let's point you in the right direction. because yeah, it's no time for sleeping right now. We need to pivot and keep moving forward.
Yeah. Ed, thank you so much for being a guest this morning. And until next time, everyone,